And one of the biggest questions that we get is, when should you put your pepper plants outside? Uncle Bulkow here, and this is one that this is one that I have people ask me all the time, and there's multiples thereof as far as answers go. Now, what we have here may be a little confusion to you. You may be under that confusion, Majesty, right about now. So these plants were planted at the same time. However, this is a lemon ghostly jalapeno, and they sprout very quickly, usually within 4 to 5 or 6 days, if you have a seed mat, and they grow right up. And then we have here a little peewee, a little baby caramel primatali. My primatales are doing real slower than everything. They popped last, and the growth rate on them is a little bit slower than the other ones. So, can I go outside with these together? Of course I can. But let's talk about the last frost. So, first thing you want to do if you're trying to determine when to put your plants outside is you want to go and find your grow zone, okay? You can do that on Google. If you don't know your grow zone, go to Google and look it up. Or, if your name is Uncle Bulkow and you forget what your grow zone is. So anyways, it's weird. It's weird because I have my plants in a couple of different places, and I actually, believe it or not, am on the border of 2 grow zones. I'm not on the border. I'm actually, well, I can't remember if it's 7A, 7. See, I forgot myself. So don't feel bad if you forget what your grow zone is. Anyways, you can just Google what grow zone is, Greensboro, North Carolina. And if you're on the border of one, just go with the one that's north to be safe as far as when it comes to first and last frost. So this is going to be the second thing you're going to do. First thing you're going to look up is your grow zone. Then you're going to look up Farmer's Almanac, or you can just look up the last frost or first frost. So this is for plants going outside. So last frost, okay? That means it's the last of the wintry weather. And what you will find is in my zone, that date pops up as April 15th. Now, there was a time, and this is what's weird, is I have plants in this spot, which is a higher more northern grow zone, and then half hour away, which is the next grow zone. And believe it or not, in 2021, I actually went to New York for a week. I just doused my plants with some water, and this was a little after April 15th. I mean, I put my plants outside right on April 15th in 21. Was it 21 or 20? I think it was 21. It was 21. What I did was I gave my plants a ton of water, and then we went on vacation, and I just hoped that it didn't get super hot and the plants dry out. And I checked the forecast. It was calling for a little bit of rain, and it ended up being perfect, man. I got back, and my plants a week later were freaking you could just see the size difference. It was beautiful. But I didn't have my plants at the other spot yet, okay? Which is a little half hour south. And believe it or not, somehow they got a frost that week. So I had some friends that they went outside, and they just had potted plants, and they were able to go outside and throw like towels and anything they had over the plants, and they were able to save them. However, there were a whole bunch of people that actually lost some plants, and they or most of them, just the growth just got stunted really bad. The plants just didn't do anything for a while. So with that being said, Here's what I want you to do. Go to Google, look up your grow zone. Then check when's the last frost date. Do the Farmer's Almanac, historical last frost date. But if you just Google it, it'll pop up. So we're going to use mine for an example, April 15th. So should I go outside on April 15th? Well, it depends. What I'm going to tell you is this. I would wait, okay? I would wait. This is what I did last year. Wait until April 14th. Or you wait till the morning of the 15th. And then look at the 10-day forecast, okay? That will take you into the 25th of April. You're almost at the end of April. You're usually not going to see a frost after the 25th. But what I do is I wait. I go look, I say, okay, the 10-day forecast looks good. And then I plan on planting my plants around the 24th, 25th of April. Now, this is why it's good to be safe like that. Because just say, for instance, that forecast looks great, everything's awesome, it's Gucci, you know, and check it every day. On the 20th, I see that on the 27th, there's going to be a night that's going to drop to 35 or something like that, something crazy, and it does happen. See, my timer just came on, a little more light in my face. And so then you can actually just say, you know what, I'm going to wait till May 1st. May 1st has always been safe since I've lived in the South, which is 13 years or 12 years now. So anyways, we'll talk about size of plants. When should you put them outside? You can put them out at this size right here. I'll hold the Sharpie up to this just so you guys can see. So that's from the bottom of the pot, size of Sharpie, and we'll do the Sharpie next to the plant. Goes up to the cap. So just for size comparison, in case you guys can't see too well, you can go outside at this size, okay? This size, it would be fine. It's not going to matter too much. However, I like to get them a little bit bigger and stronger than this. Last year, they were way bigger than this. I actually topped the plants and everything. If you are topping your plants, you don't really have to harden them off. You can literally just put them outside. If you are not topping, if you got plants like this, please do not just throw them outside. From grow lights right into the sunlight, you will end up, they'll get burnt up. And so you don't want that. You want to use fans. I put the fans on them, I don't know, sometimes for an hour, sometimes for 2 hours a day. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be much more excessive than that. And what's happening is when the fans are wiggling them, it's actually strengthening them. It's actually getting them ready to go outside. It's making the whole plant stronger. And also it will make it'll make the stem thicker. So ultimately, I would not want to put this one outside right now, or even this little bad boy. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't want to put them out at that size. Although they would be fine, they would survive. I like to have them a little bit stronger and this, a little bit thicker. And I put, and when I put them in their final pot, I will put a bamboo skewer. You can use the ones that you buy in the grocery store. But they do have ones on Amazon that are dirt cheap that are a little bit bigger than those, and they are thicker. And those things, you could just tie it once, and that thing will grow right up alongside of it for quite some time. When I'm in an open area, it's a lot of wind. Believe it or not, I use tomato cages. Yep, some people still use those for pepper plants. They work excellent. I do the bamboo skewer, then I put a tomato cage over it, and let it be. That way, if you get any really, really crazy winds or anything like that, something doesn't. Plus, these are raised beds. You see what I'm saying? If a wind were to come and bend that plant over the edge of that raised bed, it could possibly mess it up. Or if somebody were to come walking by, or whatever the case may be. So these are all just my growing tips that I'm giving to you. I've had really, really good luck, and anytime I make a mistake, last year I overwatered a tray of plants, and I knew I did it once. As soon as I did it, but I actually used that for an experiment and for teaching and showing people, what would happen and showing them the plants compared to one that wasn't. And basically breaking the news to a lot of people that once your plant is yellow like that and it has been overwatered like that, the chances of you getting it to come back are slim to none. Because that's the number one problem is people. Now, let's say this. If you do not harden your plants off, if this plant gets a little bit bigger, so which I have, I'm going to plant mine outside 2 weeks from today. So 2 weeks from today. So you can imagine how much bigger. This is in that stage right now. And even this one is, even though it's a peewee, they're in that stage right now where they are going to grow exponentially in the next 2 weeks. And these will be a lot stronger, a lot bigger, a lot fuller. They'll have more leaves. And when I put them outside, the timing will be perfect. They'll have just enough roots, okay, because I up-potted these a couple weeks, was it 2 weeks ago, from the little cells. I don't know if you guys can't see, but there's a little root that made it down to there, so that tells me that that root ball is actually spreading out, that it actually went over and down. So what'll happen is in 2 weeks from now, this should have a pretty good root system where I'll be able to just kind of take this, tip it out into my hand, and put it right straight into the 5-gallon and the 7-gallon pots. And that will grow great. You can break the roots up a little bit. I do. I don't like to just leave this root ball. I mean, it will take off, no doubt. But I like to loosen the roots up a little bit when I transplant. And if I have solo cups especially, I loosen them up, the roots really good. And I put the roots down here and they spread out in my hand as I'm kind of making a funnel. And the roots spread out, and I found that to be very well. I'm trying something new this year. Kevin Kono, shout out to you, brother. He's been telling me to use organic Rev for the longest, just because it helps with root growth and stronger plants. So I actually gave some when I water my plants. I put some in, and then it's organic. So, and I actually heard that when you transplant, to spray the roots from when you are going to up pot them from this into their final destinations. I do not I don't want to use the solo cups this year. I started later, so I don't really need to. These are fine right here. These are the little 3-inch pots. You get them from Amazon. They are dirt cheap. They're probably like, I don't know, 5 cents a piece or something like that. And you can reuse them if you want to. So they're excellent. So if you're going to give a tray of plants to somebody, you're not wasting a lot of money. So these are cheaper than the solo cups. Not as tall as a solo cup, but I've had great results with them. So what I would say is find your last frost date. Then check the weather forecast, the 10-day forecast. Weathermen are getting really good nowadays, and they're usually pretty close, at least when it comes to temperatures, pop-up storms and other things. So that can be all over the place. Find that last frost date, April 15th, May 1st. Hey, guess what? I was in New York when when my plants were doing just fine down here. I was in New York on May 1st, 2021, and it actually snowed. Okay, so you want to take a look and say, okay, May 1st, last historic frost, Farmer's Almanac. You can go into the stats of that if you want to look at the stats and see how often has that been wrong. Most of the time, it's like 1 out of 50. Or some kind of number where it is possible to get a frost after, but it's very unlikely. Just to be safe, you look at that date, you say, okay, that's the date that they say. Then when you get closer to that date, look at that 10-day forecast and say, you know what, I'm counting 10 days out after that. It looks good to go. We're in spring. Everything's blooming. We're awesome. So, yeah, guys, when to put your plants outside. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you for watching.